गति गुरुमेव भजे गुरुनैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरुः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्मि गुरो मम पाहि गुरो सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतः क्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेदकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकादर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः. In my last video, I completed till chapter 17 of Canto 1, Skanda 1 of Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Raja Parikshit went for Digvijay and he held Kali Purusha and he subdued Kali and gave 5 places for Kali to stay and he went back to the kingdom. Raja Parikshit did not kill the Kali Purusha because Raja Parikshit is a person who take only good from what all is there. He will take the essence, good essence of everything. Just like the Annapakshi, he will take only the good essence of everything. In the Kali Yuga, what all good we think of, immediately we will get result for it. We will get some good result for it. If we do good karmas, very soon we will get the result. When we think of something negative or evil, then we will not get any sin, incur sin by that. Only when we perform bad action, evil action, we will get sin for it. That is the nature of the spirit of Kali. So that is, yet krutani kushalani ashu siddhayanti itharani cha. Whatever good you think of or if you do, immediately we will get result. But in the other yugas, even if we think of something evil, then immediately sin will incur that person. But in Kali, in this age of Kali, if we think of something negative, then we will not incur any sin. Only when we do evil action, we will get the result for it. So that is a great advantage of this period of Kali, this Kali age. And in the other yugas, that is in the Kruta Yuga or the Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, in the Kruta Yuga, it's very difficult to attain liberation. One has to meditate on the self, understand that this Atma must merge this Atma with Paramatma. Only by knowledge we can attain moksha. That's why in the Krita Yuga, that is in the Satya Yuga, 90% of the people will be rishis only. In the next Yuga, when we perform sacrifices, that is by yajna, we can worship the yajna Purusha as Bhagavan, and by that way we can purify the mind and attain liberation. That is in the Treta Yuga. In the Dwapara Yuga, it's completely full of fight and battle, and the people lost concentration. So they did the pujas, that by that way they purified the mind and then attained jnana and got liberation. moksha. In the Kali Yuga, it's very easy comparing to the other yugas. One has to do the Nama Japa. By Kirtana, by Nama Japa, we can purify the mind. By performing good karmas, we can purify the mind and attain jnana and attain liberation. So there is a great advantage in the Kali Yuga. So for that reason, Raja Parikshit did not kill the Kali Purusha. Instead, he confined them to 5 places. He gave him 5 places and he ordered that you should not come. You are a bandhu of adharma, so you should not come in this land. He ordered and he went to his palace. And Suta Pauranika said that after confining Kali to these 5 places, Raja Parikshit went to his home, that is his palace, Hastinapura palace. And from there he ruled the nation, and after some time he became the disciple of, he was a disciple of Shuka Brahma Rishi. And he attained her liberation and he left his mortal body, that is this gross body, on the banks of river Ganga. And like that he concluded the story of Raja Parikshit. So immediately the Shaunaka Rishis who were listening to this story from Suta Pauranika, they immediately asked the Suta Pauranika, how did Raja Parikshit became the disciple of Shuka Brahma Rishi? And why did he discard his body on the banks of river Ganga? So please tell us more about it, more about Raja Parikshit. And not only that, we are very eager to hear about the glories of Bhagavan Vishnu. We are doing this satra for such a long time, and we are all covered with that black smoke from that yajna. So please tell us about the glories of Bhagavan, excellences of Bhagavan Vishnu. Then we will not feel that hard work by doing that yajna. So please tell us more about Bhagavan Vishnu and also about how Raja Parikshit became the disciple of Shuka Brahmarshi. And immediately Suta Pauranika said that the glories of Bhagavan Vishnu is infinite, but my mind is only finite. So what all I can tell you with this finite mind, I will tell that to you. And he said that the glories of Bhagavan Vishnu is so pure and it is so refreshing to the person who heard that. Especially the sages, they purify themselves by hearing the glories of Bhagavan Vishnu. And he said, Yetavatalam nanusuchitena gunaira samyanati shayanasya hitvedaran prartayato vibhuti yasya angrirenum jushate anabhimsoho. When Devi Lakshmi emerged from the ocean of milk, Devi Lakshmi was so beautiful, prosperous, lustrous, and every Deva, Asura, and all the gods present there, they want to receive her. But Devi Lakshmi, she ignored each and every one of them, and she straight away walked to Bhagavan Vishnu. At that time, he was not even aware of Devi Lakshmi. He was in deep slumber, and she decided to serve his feet because of his excellences only. She chose him, ignoring everyone, because he was so divine and calm and so completely full of intelligence. That's why she chose him. That is his glory, an example of his glory. Athapiyat patana kava srishtam jagad virinchobahridarhanambaha Sesham punatyantadamo mukundat ko namaloge bhagavat padartha. The water which Lord Brahma poured on the toes of Bhagavan Vishnu, it left his feet and it came down, that water flowed down. Where all it flowed, it sanctified all those places. It fell on even on Maheshwara, Bhagavan Shiv, and then it flowed as river Ganga, Until now, it is purifying who all come in contact with it. So, such pure is Bhagavan Vishnu, he said. And he said that you rishis, I will tell about his glories because his power and glories are unlimited and my capacity is limited. So, what all I know, I will tell that. And I will also tell about the whole story of Raja Parikshit. Thus, Suta Pauranika said. And he said about the Raja Parikshit, the complete story of Raja Parikshit. Raja Parikshit, he subdued Kali and he went to his palace in Hastinapura. One day he went for hunting. In those times, hunting is must be done by the king. It is mandatory for the rulers to do hunting because at that time the land and the forest was not like this divided. There were no clear division like land and forest. So the people or the villagers, they stay very near to the forest, and the forest animals, that is the wild animals, dangerous animals, they come and invade these people on the land and they disturb them. So then and now, the king, the rulers, they have to go for hunting, either to chase those wild animals to the deep forest, or if not, if that is not possible, they will kill them and take out their skin and horns like that, and preserve it for them. So, like this, Raja Parikshit also went for hunting. Till noon, he was hunting and he was very thirsty and very hungry also. So, he searched for water everywhere in the forest. He couldn't find water. There was no stream or any lake there. And at a distance, he saw a hermitage, that is a hut. So, he directly came there. And inside that hut, a rishi was meditating. It was the hut or the hermitage of Rishi Shamika Rishi. He comes in the line of sage Angiras. So, Shamika Rishi, he was in deep meditation. Parirude Indriya Pranamano Buddhim Uparatham Stanatrayat Param Praptam Brahma Budam Avikriyam. And that word, Rishi, was deep meditation. How? Controlling the Indriyas, Pranam, Manas, Buddhi, all that controlled. And he is in the fourth state, surpassing the three states of existence. We all beings, we all of us, we know only three states of existence. That is the Jagrat Avastha, that is the waking state, Swapna Avastha, dream state, and Shushupti Avastha, deep sleep state. There is a fourth state called Turiya Avastha, which is the base for all these three states. So it is very difficult for an ordinary person to go to that state. But he is a great rishi, and so he is in that fourth state, that Turiya state, surpassing the three states. So when a person is in that Turiya state, he will not be aware of anything happening in the Jagrata Avastha, that is in the waking state. Raja Parikshit, he was so hungry and thirsty, so he came there and he requested the sage for some water. He did not get water and not even a word of welcome because the rishi is not aware of it. Raja Parikshit was so hungry and thirsty, and see, he got so angry. He misunderstood that stage. That is the great problem when we are in hunger or when we are so thirsty. We always misunderstand everything and we shout at others. We might have noticed that if we are very hungry, we get angry, isn't it? So, like that, Raja Parikshit, he misunderstood this sage, that he is purposefully ignoring a Kshatriya. Like that, he thought. And he got very angry. But actually, sage Shamika, he was in that fourth state, that is in the Turiya state. He is not aware of what is happening in the waking state. So that is the state of the rishi. But Raja Parikshit misunderstood that. He ignored a Kshatriya and he got very angry and he came outside. He saw a dead snake lying there on the ground. He immediately lifted that dead snake with the tip of his arrow and he placed the dead snake around the neck of Shamika Rishi and he went off. He went to his palace. Shamika Rishi is not aware of all this, but his son, that is the sage's son, he was a young Brahmana boy, so spiritually lustrous. It came to the notice of him that a Kshatriya came there to his hermitage and placed a dead snake around the neck of his father. So immediately he came and saw that he was not able to bear that scene. His father was meditating, he was a great rishi, a Brahmana, and a dead snake is dangling around his neck, that also placed by a Kshatriya. He got very angry. He came outside the hermitage and just gave sharp to that Raja. He said, Yiti lankita maryadam takshaga saptamehani damshyati sma kulangharam chotito metadruham. He said, within 7 days, as directed by me, let the serpent Takshaga bite this fellow. He is, because he persecuted my father, he is a threat to his own clan and violator of all moral codes. Like this, he said. He pronounced a curse on that Raja. Because he was so angry that it is the duty of a Kshatriya to safeguard and protect everyone. It is the duty of a Kshatriya to protect a Brahmana, and that also in deep meditation. But instead, what did he do? He humiliated that Brahmana, insulted that Brahmana for a silly thing that he did not respond to his call. So he was so angry, and that young child pronounced this curse that within 7 days, the serpent Takshaga will bite this fellow, this Kshatriya. He said like this, and he could not bear that scene, and he was crying aloud sitting near his father. So, disturbed by the sound cries of his son, Rishi Shamika, he awoke from that meditation and he asked his son, Vatsa, why are you crying like this? Why are you weeping? Did anyone disturb you like this? But he was crying, and immediately sage Shamika, he saw that dead snake just hanging around his neck. He just took it off and threw it, that's all. He didn't care for it. And immediately that boy said, a Kshatriya came and he placed this dead snake around your neck, father. And so I cursed him. Very proudly he said. Immediately Shamika Rishi said, Nishamya saptamadadarham narendram sabhramano na atmajam abhyanantham aho badamho mahadajnate kritam alpiyasi droha ururdhamodrudaha. The Rishi said, you, my son, you have done a great papa. Aho Badam ho mahadajnade, you have done a great mistake out of ignorance. Alpiyasi kritam papam, where for a very small act, for a very small mistake, vruddhamodrudaha, you have given a great punishment. So you have done a great mistake, my son. Shamika Rishi said to his son, Navaindrubhi naradevam parakhyam sambhadumarhasya vipakva buddhe yattejasa durvishahena gupta vindandi badhranya krudobhaya prajaha. And he said, O apakva buddhi, O my dear son, who are an immature boy, do you know who a king is? A king should not be seen as an ordinary man. He is an expression of divine. He must be a divine person. That's why he became a king. And he is divine, and only because of his irresistible power, we are living prosperously and securely. If there is no king, then everything, the whole land will be in such a great chaos. There will the varnasrama and the varna and the ashrama, they will mix and they will not be in order. The society will be completely out of order. The thieves will invade us. The other thieves or the other people from the other land, they will invade us. So we are living securely only because a Raja is ruling us. So he must be seen as divine. He is protecting us and he is making us prosperous. We get everything only because of him. And you, out of this apakwa buddhi, you have cursed him. So tomorrow, if something happened to this land, to this kingdom, in a way, you are also responsible for that, my son, he said. And the sage prayed to the Lord to pardon his son. अपापेषु स्वभृत्येषु भालेन अपक्वबुद्धिना पापं कृतं तद्भगवान् सर्वात्मक्षन्तुमर्हति. My boy who is out of his apakwa buddhi, he has done a great sin. Papam kritam. So please, Bhagavan, you are the soul of everyone. So please pardon him. Like this, the Rishi just begged to Bhagavan to pardon his son. And the Sutta Pauranika says that the rishis, they were so mature and they always identify with the Atma. Sage Shamika Rishi, when he came out of meditation, he saw the dead snake and he threw it away. That's all. It didn't affect him at all. प्रायशः साधवो लोहे परिद्वन्द्वेषु योजिताः न व्यथन्ति न हृष्यन्ति यत् आत्म अगुणाश्रयः. So these sages, they are beyond the dualities. For them there is no happiness or no sorrow. So they have come across all these. They have passed over all these dualities of nature, of Prakriti. So they always identify with Atma. So for them, there is no one, even if someone praises, they just take it the same way. If someone humiliates them also, they take it as the same way because they always identify with the Atma, not with this physical body. So that happened in the Rishi Shamika's hermitage. Raja Parikshit, he went back to his kingdom, Hastinapura, and he was in his palace, and he felt so bad that why did I do this to a Rishi? Out of hunger and thirst, I did it. Why did I do that act to that great Rishi? I must have not done like that. Like that, he thought, and he said, so I have done a sin now. I must get that punishment or repercussion for that. Only then I will not do it again. Because of that act, let all my prosperity go away from me. Let my kingdom go away from me. Let everything go away from me. Only then I will not repeat it again. Don't want to do this again. Like this, he thought. And Raja Parikshit was worrying like this. Immediately he came to know from the people of the palace that the son of that Rishi, the son of the Rishi is called Shrinki. His name was Shrinki. That young Brahmana, Shrinki, he has cursed Raja Parikshit. He came to know of that. According to that curse, within 7 days, the serpent Takshaka will come and bite the Raja Parikshit, the king, Raja Parikshit, and he will die. So that was the curse. And some disciples of Shamika Rishi, they came and said to the people in the palace that like this, the young Brahmana boy has cursed. So within 7 days, he will die, bitten by Takshaka, the very poisonous snake. Immediately, Raja Parikshit thought like this. Anyway, I am going to die. So I want to renounce everything. He renounced everything then and there, and he went to the banks of river Ganga to meditate on Bhagavan until death. He fasted until death and meditated on Bhagavan. So he left the kingdom, and before going, he gave the rulership of that kingdom to his eldest son, Janamejaya. He gave the power to his eldest son, Janamejaya, and he renounced everything and went to the banks of river Ganga. He sat there, and his arrival stirred everyone in and around Hastinapura. So many sages who were meditating in and around that region of Ganga, on the Ganga Dira, they came to know about Raja Parikshit renounced everything, and he came to on the banks of river Ganga to fast until death or meditate on Bhagavan Vishnu. So they all came to see him. Who were all they? They were all great rishis. Atri Rishi, Vasishta, Shavana Rishi, Arishtanemi, Bhrigu Rishi, Angirasa, Parashara, that is the father of sage Vyasa, Vishwamitra, Parashurama, Devala, Bharadwaja, Gaudama Rishi, Pipalada Rishi, Agastya Rishi, Dvaipayana, Vedavyasa himself, Narada. So they all came along with their students also, with their sishyas, thousands and thousands of sishyas, many maharshis, rajarshis, devarshis, they all assembled in front of Raja Parikshit. So Raja Parikshit, when each and everyone came to see him, he just got up from his seat and worshipped him, fell on their feet, got their blessing, and like that he was getting blessings from each and everyone. They all assembled in front of Raja Parikshit. And Raja Parikshit said, Tasyaiva meghasya paravareshu vyasakti chittasya griheshva bhikshanam nirveda mulo dvijashaparubho yatra prasakto bhayamashu datte. So I consider it as a blessing in disguise. Only Bhagavan has come in the form of that Brahmana boy's curse. Or otherwise, I will not renounce everything. So whoever it may be, when they see death in front of them, immediately they will renounce everything and worship Bhagavan. So what to tell about me? So it is a blessing in disguise. So let Takshaha, that poisonous snake, as directed by the Brahmana boy, let it come and bite me, inflict its fatal bite on me. I will accept it. Like that he said. And he said, Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante ratihi prasangascha sadam shrayeshu mahatsuyam yamubayami srishtham maitrastu sarvatra namodvijebhyaha. That Shapa is in a way blessing to me. Only then I will renounce everything, or otherwise I will not meditate on Bhagavan. So even when I am born in the next birth, if I take next birth, I want to be a great bhakta of Bhagavan. And I want to associate with his bhaktas. So I want even if I take next birth, I want to be with Bhagavan, always thinking about him, always singing about him, in association with the bhaktas of Bhagavan. So I want to be like that. So I want to hear the excellences of Bhagavan. At this end time, I want to hear the excellences of Bhagavan, Raja Parikshit said. And he said, O learned ones, I would like to hear the excellences of Bhagavan, and please tell me what a person like me, that is, who is on the verge of death, who is seeing death in front of him, what should he do? Like, what should he do? He is seeing for death in front of him. So what should he do? He asked the rishis. So immediately the rishis consulted with each other because they want to tell the best thing to Raja Parikshit. When they were just consulting like this, there appeared Shukha Brahma Rishi. He was a great Brahma Rishi. Even Veda Vyasa used to worship him. And all the rishis, they got up from their seat to worship and invite Shuka Brahma Rishi. Shuka Brahma Rishi, he always looked so attractive in form, very intelligent. He will appear in a form of a 16-year-old only. He is an Avaduta. Many children and his devotees always follow him because he was just a great rishi. He's just like Brahman walking with a form. He is that. So all the rishis, they worship this Shuka Brahma Rishi. At the very young age itself, he was so mature with jnana, and that Brahma Rishi, Shuka Brahma Rishi, he entered that assembly where this Raja Parikshit and all the rishis are there. He entered there and every one of them worshipped that great Rishi, Shuka Brahma Rishi. Even Veda Vyasa, he went and worshipped Shuka Brahma Rishi. He was such a great Rishi. To tell his Nama itself, we must be blessed. Only then we will come to know of him. So that Rishi, he came inside and Raja Parikshit said, Sannidyate mahayogin padakani mahantyapi sadhyo nashyanti vaibhumsam vishnuriva suredharaha. Just like how the presence of Bhagavan Vishnu will destroy the Asuras, so just like that, your entry, seeing you, all my papas are gone, all my papas are dissolved or destroyed. Like this Raja Parikshit said, and he requested Shuka Brahma Rishi, Yat Shrotavyamato Japyam Yat Kartavyam Rubhi Prabho Smartavyam Bhajaniyam Va Bruhi Yadva Vibharyayam. He requested that Rishi, so what should a person like me who is seeing death in front of him, who is on the verge of death, yet Shrotavyam, what should he hear? Yet Japyam, what should he do? Japa. Yet Kartavyam, what should he do? Smartavyam, what should he think or remember? Bhajaniyam, do bhajan or japa. And please also tell me, Viparyayam Yadva. Is there anything, please tell me, what all a person should not do also. So please tell me, Rishi, about what a person should hear, should do japa, bhajan, what good thing he must do, what thing he must remember, and also tell me what he should not do, especially a person like me who is on the verge of death. So Raja Parikshit requested to Shuka Brahma Rishi in this way. So the answer Shuka Brahma Rishi gave, and that comes in the Skanda 2 of Srimad Bhagavata Mahapurana. Till now we have completed Canto 1, and in that canto there are 19 chapters. So it is just like an introduction. And in the next skanda, that is the skanda only, chapter from 1, skanda 2 starts the actual Bhagavata Purana, the core of the Bhagavata Purana. So here on from the skanda 2, there will be many questions Raja Parikshit will ask and Shuka Brahma Rishi will answer for it. So this canto 1 is just like an introduction for the Srimad Bhagavata, just like how in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1 is an introduction for the rest of the chapters. That is from actually in Bhagavad Gita, only from chapter 2, the core Bhagavad Gita begins. So just like that, from Skanda 2, the core Bhagavata Purana begins. So that I will explain in my next upload. Om Shri Narayana Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste.